Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. And if you are new, hopefully you've gone and seen some of the previous videos to this one, because we are getting back to our Grogu toy makeover. So I've taken a very cheap Mattel soft toy and we are currently converting him into a fully articulated, fully posable, screen accurate toy prop thing. Doll, I suppose. I'm really enjoying this so far. So as you can see, all of the body is now done. He now is fully posable. His arms, legs, head, everything is movable. So I'm very, very happy with this. However, we now need to get on to the delicate matter of clothing. So this is the outfit that he came with, which is, it's not bad, you know, it's okay, but this now no longer fits him because it's too short, because we've actually given him proper dimensions and proper proportions. So I need to seam rip this apart, so I've got all of its component pieces, and then remake it. And for that I have got this dressmaking fabric, which is almost exactly the same colour. However, whilst doing research for this, I have discovered that actually the outfit is not correct. Neither is the outfit on some of the more expensive toys either, some of the more expensive kind of display props. Intrigued I was. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all take my lovely seam ripper over here, and I'm going to break this down into its component parts. So I still want to keep the cuffs and the collar, but everything else I just want as flat pattern pieces so that I can remake them and alter them. So yeah, let me turn the camera around. I'll show you properly how to use a seam ripper, because I had some comments about that last time. Yeah, we'll get cracking with today's video and making Grogu's clothes. Welcome to my very messy desk, which, as someone commented, is turning into a piece of artwork on its own. I think probably more of a Jackson Pollock. We have everything done on the body. I have secured the neck and the hands exactly the same way as they were before with a cable tie. I've hot glued the fabric at the bottom round by the feet, so this is all done. But let me show you what I mean about the length of this. So if I line the neck up here, you can see that now his feet stick out the bottom, and this is not correct. So this is the thing that I said people have been getting wrong. So with the toys that you get, our little Robin, quite often see them pose with his little feet sticking out the bottom. And actually, I've been going through doing my research and looking at frame by frame shots of Grogu jumping and bouncing and all that kind of stuff. And actually, the outfit is not a robe, like a traditional robe like this, where it's all open at the bottom. It's actually more of a baby grow, which is completely sealed at the bottom. It has another piece of fabric down here, which is why you've got this loose frayed edge, is because it's all been sewn with a raw edge kind of sticking out. But it means that when he's walking, his legs are inside the outfit, and that's what we need to do. That's one extra thing that we need to do today. So let me move Grogu out of the way for just a moment. There we go. Popped him over to the side. So this is the fabric that the outfit is made of. You can see it's quite heavily textured, and this is the fabric that I have got, which is not heavily textured. So it's this sandy colour. It's almost exactly the same colour, but again, looking at reference pictures, Grogu's outfit is not this kind of textured burlap. It's more like a suede material, so it's more matte, and this is definitely more of a screen accurate fit for that. So let's have a look at this and the construction of this, because this actually is fairly simple. We've got the collar, which is a kind of two-piece, well, three-piece. You've got the two backing pieces and then the front piece, which folds over to create the whole neck. This I'm going to take off and just keep as is, reuse that. Same for the little cuffs here. And then the arms and the body, it's a very simple construction. We do have a pleat at the back here, but essentially this back piece is one whole piece. This front piece is also one whole piece, as are the sleeves, and then this bit and these bits here, if I turn this inside out, they're just appliqued on top. They've just been laid down and sewn on top of that to give detail. You can see that much clearer here. There's no opening there. It is literally just an extra piece of fabric. It's been folded over to hide the seams, and then it has been sewn into position. We don't want that. We want this to be a functional piece that can be taken on and off. So the back is fine, and I will recreate this pleat in the back, because actually that gives a little bit of extra movement for the feet at the bottom. However, the front, I'm actually going to create this as a working piece. So I'm going to fully tack the collar down as it goes all the way to the end. So we've got this fold over. I may put a button or a clasp in here as well. And this is going to be a fully openable jacket robe thing. The arms, actually, I'm not too worried about. I'm going to follow the same construction I've got here. This is just a detail. Doesn't actually do anything for the outfit. I might make them just a little bit longer so that we have a little bit of gather on them, but I'll see how I feel as that goes. Right, seam ripping. So, seam ripper, this tool here has a pointy end and a ball end. So I had some comments that people had tried using a seam ripper, as this is messages on Instagram. They tried using a seam ripper, and as they were going in to try and separate the seams, the point was grabbing the fabric and was actually creating issues with the fabric itself, and that's because you actually have this ball end, which makes things a little bit easier. So what I tend to do is go in and just separate a couple. So find the first stitch. In fact, let me zoom in, see if I can make this a little bit clearer. Here we go. So I'm gonna find the first stitch on here, and that one, so the point slides in, and then this little crescent shape here is the blade, and that rips it open. And I'm gonna find just a couple of these, being careful, opening those up, making sure that, there we go, the stitching is now free. Now with this ball end, I can slide underneath, and I can guide those stitches into the blade without fear of catching the fabric itself. And you can see, much easier, and you can kind of do a stitch or two and then just gently ease it apart. There we go. And then you don't have to worry about damaging the actual fabric, because that little ball on the end is protecting it. There we go. And just a few of those will have this all undone and in its component pieces. So give me just a second. I'm going to rip this all open, and then I'll show you what we've got. Right, so everything is now deconstructed. We have his right sleeve, his left sleeve, the collar, the front, and the back. You can see I've even taken apart that pleat at the back so that I can fully open this up and make sure I've got that nice and proper and the way it's done here. So everything here is almost fine. I can almost transfer this one for one, except this front. And by going through and seam ripping everything open, you're doing everything in reverse. So you're learning how the construction has been done. And this one, fairly simple. So this is the back piece, this is the front piece. These were joined at these two sections here, so here and here. Then the collar was sewn in. Then the sleeve was sewn into this section, and then this is one long sleeve. This is one long seam that goes right away from the end of the sleeve right away down to the bottom of the robe there. So I kind of know my order of operation on going back for this as well. So I'm pretty comfortable with this. I don't think it's going to be too tricky, but this front piece definitely needs a little bit of altering. Let me grab my shears. Here we go. Right. So the left side of this I think is fine in terms of I can slice up here, and this is going to be fairly accurate to what is needed. That part is fine, and then this part obviously now is too short, but I think if I just flip this and we have two of this size piece, I can create this piece down the middle. I'll also have a little bit of a crossover so I can attach little bits of Velcro to keep it all together. I think that is all the pieces. Then afterwards we will then have to construct the bottom section as well. But first things first, I need to lay out this dressmaking fabric. I need to pop all of these bits on there, and I need to cut them all out. This is going to be fun. Right, I'll be back in just a moment when I've got all of my new pattern pieces ready. There we go, that wasn't too bad. So let me start on pinning all of these things. Let's start with the back piece. That's nice and easy. So you can see I've added a little bit of extra length down the bottom because we know we needed to do that. And as you can see, I just pinned this in place, got it as flat as I could, and took my great big shears and trimmed all the way around the edge, and that has given us our pattern piece. Also measure and mark out exactly where the pleat needs to go as well, but there we go, that is the back section. We've then got the front section, so you can see I've added the same length at the bottom, or as close as I could get it without actually measuring it, all done by eye. There we go. Which I don't mind for this because it's not a particularly tailored finish. It's very homespun, so I'm honestly not too worried if everything looks a little bit off. Hopefully it won't, but there we go. That means we've got the two front pieces like that. There we go. And then the sleeves, which upon laying one on top of the other, they are exactly the same, which is not surprising. This is toy production, so you want to get as little labour really as possible. So if you can use the same shape for both sleeves without having to flip them left and right, why not? So there we go. That's the sleeve. We've got one sleeve over here, one sleeve over here. That is all of the pieces ready to go now. Of course, we've got our collar up here. I just need to take the fluffy bits off of here. So you may have noticed on the sleeves, I've actually included the fluffy bit in this because I want the sleeves to be just a little bit longer. Not massively, but just a tiny bit. We do still need to cut out this section here, which is just a strip of fabric, so that's going to be fairly easy to do, and that's for decoration on top of the sleeves and on the front of the jacket. Now, so first things first, right, let's think about this. I think, yeah, let's start with the decoration parts first. So one side of this needs to have the strip down the front. In fact, let me grab a ruler and see exactly how wide this is. It's an inch. It's exactly 1 inch wide. So I'm going to grab my fabric down here. I'm going to cut out some strips that are just over 1 inch wide. So I've given myself some seam allowance. I'm going to tack those into place on the sleeves and on the front. Okay, so I've just taken a strip and I've pressed it lightly just so that I've got this almost like a little bias strip. I've got a great big long length of it. I've just pressed it to make it a little bit easier when I'm attaching. And I think what I might do with the front piece is actually hide this section in this seam here, so that when we fold it over like that, that's kind of how it looks, like that. So I need to cut the length for the front. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra as well, just so that I've got this all set up. Actually cut that, there we are, a bit of fabric edge there. Right, so I need, this just going to make it a little bit easier. Just bring extra amount there, extra there, and then snip. There we go. That's the bit for the front section. And I need to do the same for the sleeves. There's going to be 2 bits of the same length. So I do one again, going over slightly, just give myself a little bit of allowance. Snip. And another one. Snip. Right, so that is all of the accent pieces done. And whilst I was pressing this, I also pressed that seam into the back here again, just to make it a little bit easier when I'm stitching everything together. Right, I am going to also take this off of here because I do need this fluff to go on the ends of the cuff. So the cuff is going to be, it'll be this section, then this section, then that section stitched on. So what I'm going to do now, I'll take this off, I'm going to go and stitch the accents to this and to this and stitch the fluff on, and also stitch this into the front section as well. And I'll come back when that is done and show you how we're progressing. Okay, short little bit of sewing later, and we have the sleeves done. We have this front bit here done. You can see my very straight seam down the edge there. This is what happens when you're sewing when there's a cat present. Tinkerbell decided to jump on my lap as that was happening. Over on this side though, this is the bit that goes underneath, so I've just put a little hem on that. See, that is much nicer. Look how neat that is. Also, when you've let someone else use your sewing machine, make sure that you have checked what tension they've left it on, because I've got a whole bundle of stuff under here that I need to pull out thread by thread. Anyway, right, next thing to do is really kind of assembling all of this together. So we have the 2 front pieces and we have the sleeves. We also have the back piece. Now I do need to just quickly hand sew here and here, so we've got that pleat at the back that opens up, so I will do that as well. Then I've also got a little button, so we've almost got a buttonhole here but not quite, so I'm again going to tack this together and then sew a button on the front, and then this will go in, and then the actual closure is going to be Velcro, but that can all come after I have attached all of these pieces together. So let me construct the garment. So remember, we are doing, first of all, sewing. Let me turn this all around so it's in the right place. There we are. So we're going to sew these bits together first, like that. So here and here. Then we're going to attach the collar. Then we're going to attach the sleeves just around this edge. And then we've got a long running seam that goes all the way from the edge of the sleeve all the way down to the bottom. That's it, that's the whole garment construction. And then we'll think about the bottom section once we have done kind of closures and all of that. So I'll be back with you. Well, for you it'll be just a second. For me, I'm sure it'll be a couple of cups of tea and an episode of Black Mirror. So let me get to this and I'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, I've just put this on Grogu so I can have a little check and make sure the fit is correct, and yeah, it's not bad at all. It's looking really, really nice. So what I now need to do is attach some Velcro to the front, which I've got some white sew on Velcro, just so that we can attach it in a few places. I kind of want to leave gaps between the Velcro, otherwise you get this horrible ugly seam that bulges. Then I need to make sure this is all the same length at the bottom. Then take a bit more of the fabric and sew a circle into the bottom so that you can actually walk around inside his outfit, because that's actually how it goes. I think that's going to work nicely. The other thing that we need to do as well is I just need to pinch this bit together and sew a little button over here so that this all locks in. And for that, I've got this little brown button, which I think works really nicely. So I am going to go and make these last little amendments to the costume, and I'll be back in a moment or two when that's all been done. Okay, are you ready? Because I've just finished this, so you can see. Let me show you little bits. The bottom is now sewn into place and nicely frayed. We have little. Oh, I'm just going to have to show you the whole thing. Aren't you ready? There we go. Look, it's so cute. So yeah, we are the robe, the kind of baby grow robe, is now completely done. He stands up and everything. Right, so just to take you through what I have done, underneath here is a little button, and that comes undone, and all of this is Velcro, which has just been tacked into place so his outfit can be taken off. And there is a very good reason for that, because obviously as Grogu has evolved in the series, so has his outfit, and he has some additional items which I am going to make some little extras. But before we do that, we need to actually finish him. So that will be next video. We're doing all the final touches, so weathering and hair and all that kind of stuff. So one thing I do want to point out, if you are going to attempt this yourself, this fabric that his clothing was originally made out of is not iron proof, and I found that out when I tried to press under the collar, and yeah, you can see where the button is. It's just all melted away. The actual fur fabric itself absolutely fine, but the hessian-y type fabric not great. But there he is, all finished, clothing all finished, at least ready to go. I might change the place of that button just slightly, but yeah, he's looking really good now. So join me next time as we delve into final touches for Grogu, for his outfit and hair and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll have one more episode after that. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you think. Is this something you are going to attempt yourself? I really hope so. As always, I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.